All right, thank you for staying with us on Daybreak. I have with me in studio Charles Owino of the National Communications Center, also former police spokesperson. We have as well Samson Omondi, who is an assistant director, KNCHR, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. We expect at any moment now Martin Omwange of Inuka Kenya Nisisi, and we do have joining us virtually Grace Wangeshi, who is executive director of the Independent Medical Legal Unit. So, gentlemen, while we were on break and you were getting settled, you were discussing the police recruitment, what the Daily Nation describes as the police recruitment saga. What caught your eye? I'll start with you, Samson.
So, Olive, thank you. Thank you for having me here for this conversation this morning. I think to start us off with the issue of police recruitment is that we've had police recruitments that have had challenges. Of course, there have been a lot of good things that have happened, but one of the things that we had wanted to deal with when it comes to issues of police recruitment is the issue of corruption. I think that is one. Number two, the issue of fair practices. Number three, the issue of discrimination. And of course, just ensuring that everything is done right as we work towards making police a professional police service. And I want us to underline the word professional. Professional where everyone would be looking towards working with the police. Now, when we got the new constitution, we established the National Police Service Commission. Now, the National Police Service Commission would deal with the human resource mandate of the National Police Service. Now, the National Police Service Commission has commissioners, and the Inspector General is one of the commissioners. And of course, we also have other police officers, both retired and current, that also serves as commissioners. I think that is one. But now when it comes to employment, one of the things the National Police Service Commission did was to develop regulations that are called appointment and employment regulations that now would provide steps towards professionalizing police service in terms of how people come in. Now, if you look at the regulations, it provides a two-tier process. Now, the first tier is that the National Police Service Commission would advertise for available vacancies in newspapers, where it will say National Police Service Commission has this number of and people are encouraged to apply. You see the way we apply for jobs?
Yes.
You'll go to Daily Nation and you find a job.
Yes.
So people will apply. Then once people apply, the National Police Service Commission would go sit down and do the first shortlist. Just the way it is done in other organizations. So after doing the first shortlist, then it will go out there, share out these names again and say the following have been shortlisted. Now then they'll be invited now for interviews. That will now be the second process, that will involve the aptitude test, the running and everything. Now these regulations have not been followed. And therefore we are stuck with the old mentality where people come, run, we pick those that we think are the best, and the circus continues. So I think the struggle we are having is we have refused to follow the law, we refuse to follow the regulations, and I think we've also refused to give the National Police Service Commission just the free will to do what it was established to do. So that is the struggle, and that's the challenge that we have, Olive.
All right. Let's get your take, Charles. I'm reading here in the Standard that the police service and the commission agreed to do away with online recruitment and will now conduct a physical exercise in all constituencies. Where do you fall on this issue?
Oh, thank you, Olive. I am one privileged Kenyan to have served in the police service. I still believe I serve. I'm also privileged to have been amongst the officers who are involved in drafting parts of the Constitution that brought about the Police Service Commission and much of the regulations that we have in the police service, together with my colleague, able colleague, late King Mwangi, and my colleague Eric Raide, and we had a lot of input. One of the major challenges has been that I think there's been a feeling that the Inspector General should be the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And the police have always said that in relation to the fact that Judicial Service Commission is chaired by the Chief Justice, and legislature is chaired by the Parliamentary Service Commission is chaired by the Speaker. But what brought about the police having a civilian as a chairman of the commission? It was because in our discussion was that we have 3 arms of government, and these arms of government have heads of arms of government. So the head of arm of government of judiciary is the Chief Justice. The head of arm of government of Parliament is the Speaker. But who is the head of arm of government of the executive where the police fall? It's the President.
The President.
So ordinarily, the person who should be the chairman of the Police Service Commission is the President. But now the President, it was discussed that the President cannot sit in such a small commission. He cannot sit in a commission. And therefore, we had to get a civilian to represent the interest of the President at the commission. But we ensured the commission has 9 members. We have the 3 heads of police services, the Inspector General, the DIG Police, the DIG AP, and 2 retired police officers, one who had served in AP and one who had served in Kenya Police Service. So in this commission, we have 9 members. Out of these 9 members, 5 are police officers. Only 4 are civilians. The 4 who are civilians, one is the chairman. The second one is the vice chair. The third one is somebody with HR knowledge, a civilian. And the fourth one is a civilian who is an advocate of High Court. So only 4 are civilians. 5 are policemen. And then there's a 6th policeman who has been co-opted, and that is the Director of Criminal Investigations Department, the DCI. So when I hear about the commission vis-a-vis the IG, I don't understand, because this is a commission of policemen. Does it mean they cannot sit? To me, it's a fallacy, because the chairman, who is a civilian, cannot overrule these 5 policemen if they are working in good faith and for the interest of the service. But we hope that in future, we have now had the Constitution for 10 years, or over 10 years, 15 years, and there would be amendments. Like from where I sit, if I have capacity, I would just want us to have 1 police service and the DCI. Just have nothing like AP or Kenya Police. We should just have 1 Kenya National Police Service with 1 DIG and 1 deputy. Then most of these things we are seeing, let's say in AP or in Kenya Police, we will remain with our regions, the 8 regions, and then we'll remain with formations. And then we have a strong DCI. There are many things that I cannot discuss here, following oath of office. You know, we are trained and we take oath that what you see, what you know, you may not diverge too much. Most of the information that we would want, much that we would see that it may not be wrong or may be right, we would prefer them to be, we would discuss them in different forums, not publicly. But lastly, you've talked about police recruitment. I heard about digital recruitment, where people are supposed to apply. You know, there's a feeling that policemen have not had educated people. Policemen have had very, very, very well educated people. It's now that I'm seeing funny people. But the people we got, the old men we got in service, were solid, were intelligent, were competent. And I can tell you from the history of this country, our first African Commissioner of Police, Bernard Hinga, who became Commissioner of Police at only age 32, was talent spotted when I was a student at Alliance High School in 1954. Attained Division 1, was taken for diploma in Jerusalem University. But they knew that Uhuru was coming and they had to start developing Africans. And he grew up in rank. Kanyotu, our first director of intelligence, was from Makerere in 1959 when he got recruited in police. And many others. That was the first. And look at the category of persons who were running the police. From the time we got independence, we had people like Okola from Umondi and myself's village and from our clan, the first DCI, highly educated from Makerere. So this fallacy of it is now that people think they can bring their bad children to police. Ati huyo amenishinda, pereka polisi, huyo amepata D, pereka polisi. There's no space for that.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, the government is struggling with the digital superhighway to ensure that we have, but you see, children may not even get bundles. So if you say people go to be recruited through online, personally, I felt that we were trying to bite too much because many children would have fallen out. The best thing is people to go to recruitment center. Omondi people must run. When we go for recruitment, there are stages.
Yes, yes.
Stage number 1, when you arrive at the recruitment point center, there is registration. You register that you have arrived. After registration, you go to the line where we will say graduates, people with A, people with B. People take lines. Then you check on their certificates. Once you've checked on their certificates, then what we used to do is to put people on when we were recruited, we were to be taken for a dictation test, where there's dictation, you write, it is marked. These are just elimination methods because people are many, you have to eliminate. Then we go and we do, people are taken to run, and being taken to run is not because you become number 1. Number 1, they want to check on your physical fitness. Number 2, you will undertake a medical test at the end of it, and through running and moving on, your pressure, your what, but most of them are still very young, so you don't easily get such issues. Then some of them, you eliminate them because some will take shortcuts. You start seeing bad people, they get eliminated in the process. Then now we go to the aptitude test. Aptitude test, you may find somebody, a young Samburu, or a young Pokot, or a young Somali, who has a C, scoring higher than my son, who has a B+. Because some of them, it's just testing your IQ. Their intellect content is very high. The only thing is that they were not maybe exposed to good schools, to good opportunities. You still find them scoring even very highly. And mostly out of that, you can be able to pick even somebody with a C or a C+, and leave somebody with a B+.
So is the aptitude test written or oral?
No, aptitude test is written.
Okay.
Yes, if it is undertaken. There was a time they stopped doing it. I don't know whether they'll have it this time, but we used to have written, we used to have aptitude test. Then after that, you go for, after those tests and so on, then you go for the medical. Then again, you group people. You can group people in their wards. When you are recruiting at the sub-county level, you can group people in their how do you call it, sub-locations, so that at least each and every sub-location or each and every ward picks on someone.
Is represented.
So this issue, and then earlier we used to have, up to 1989, we used to have direct entry inspectors, people who used to be employed directly, the way military is recruiting cadets. Then Commissioner Kilonzo felt that they were having challenges because police work is a social work, it's a practical work. You have to work at the police station and know how procedures at police stations are undertaken. You have to take people's fingerprints, you have to record statements, you have to prepare case files, you have to summon people to attend court. There are a lot of procedures, a lot of things that you need to learn. You cannot just be propelled and you fail to learn. That's why you find some of these gaps. So according to me, the commission can come up with procedures, but the recruitment officer is the Inspector General.
Okay.
Because he's the one that will send officers to the ground, and then other people like Omondi from Human Rights, IPOA, ESCC, can carry out oversight.
Okay, all right. Let's get Grace Wangeshi's take. And the reason I allowed Charles to go on for so long is because he has specialized knowledge. He has been there. So who else in this panel has done the job? All right, Wangeshi, thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you had occasion to listen to what Charles was explaining, but on the issue of, we constantly hear of this friction between the National Police Service and the National Police Service Commission, and in his view, he says this is a fallacy because 5 out of the 4 are people who are in the service.
Yes.
But we hear issues of, the service doesn't want to hand over payroll. We hear issues around the service is deliberately causing quorum hitches in the sittings of the National Police Service Commission. Your thoughts? Grace, do you mind unmuting, please? I think you're on mute. All right, we'll sort that out, and then we'll hear from Grace. But I'll pose the same question to you, Martin. Yes, did you hear the question, or do you want me to take it again?
You can take it again, please. Okay,
so this is Martin Omwange, who is from Inuka, Kenya, Nisisi. Thank you for joining us this morning. So essentially what Charles said on this reported friction between the National Police Service and the National Police Service Commission, to him, he doesn't get it, because 5 out of 9 commissioners are people in the service. Do you agree with him do you get it? Let me start there. Because he says it's a fallacy, but do you get where it could be emanating from?
I don't know where it emanates from, because as he has enumerated that the majority who are in the Police Service Commission are policemen in the service. And the 4 who are civilians are the ones who are representing, let's say, the other sectors of society. I mean, if something is said and comes out that there is this friction between the service between the service, then for me it exists. Maybe because most of this disagreement might arise because of the misunderstanding between the commissioners themselves who are in the commission, when the police who are representing the majority in that commission are coming with the interest of the constituency they represent, and these civilians who are coming from the other sectors representing different interests. I think basically, and perception also, what are we looking at when we are looking at the police service? What are we looking at when we talk about a service that the police is supposed to offer to the people? So basically it could arise because of the perception and also the real disagreement that actually when it comes to deliberating issues within the commission itself. So if it is said and it comes out from a commission where people are working or supposed to come out with a conclusion or a certain kind of agreement, then for me, there must be some things that they don't agree, and for me, it's natural that people don't agree. They don't agree to agree. So for that reason, I will say that I can't call it a fallacy. It is something that is natural when people come from different constituencies representing different interests. And in this case, I think that is what arises when these differences arise within the commission.
Something else on the chat.
My last take, I think 2 things. Number one, I love it when Charles speaks of fallacy. And I think there are a lot of fallacies. Like one of the fallacies is that we have a national police service. I don't know whether you get what I mean. And Charles has spoken about it. That we speak about having national police service, but within it there are several things that even coordinating and having functions taken well, I think is a challenge. So we need to get a way of dealing with that. I don't know whether changing the constitution, changing the law would help us with that. Conversation for another day. But I think the second thing is...
For today, actually.
When we speak about police recruitment, I think the National Police Service Commission has gazetted regulations. And the regulations are very clear on what should be done. So the issue of a two-tier process, the issue of course, running, which still has to be done, the issue of aptitude test, the issue of elimination, medical tests and everything, all of these things are well enumerated in the regulations. So I think what we are all calling for is, can the National Police Service Commission follow the regulations that it has gazetted to help us deal with professionalizing the National Police Service? I think it's as simple as that. Let's follow the law.
All right. Do we have Grace? All right. So, oh, yes, Grace, I can hear you. I don't know whether you caught my question earlier. It was a question around the friction between the National Police Service Commission and the National Police Service. I beg your pardon. Let me take a sip of water. What are your thoughts on where it emanates?
Very easy, and I'm actually reflecting on Article 244 of the Constitution, because really every conversation we have must be drawn back to the Constitution. Now, the Constitution calls for a couple of critical things. One is that the National Police Service shall strive for the highest standards of professionalism and discipline amongst its members. Please hold on to that. Number two, prevent corruption and promote and practice transparency and accountability. And three, comply with constitutional standards of human rights and fundamental practices. Now, when Charles talks over these funny people and the bad boys, I want, and the bad police persons that are being brought in, I want to totally agree with him in that sentence, because what has happened is that we've made recruitment, promotion, discipline a cash cow, that we do not follow the Constitution. We don't do it for the right reasons. We get people in, and that's why this digital process will be fought completely, because we are eliminating a cash cow. The truth of the matter is, all this emanates from corruption, that without your 500,000 shillings, you're not getting to the police service. Without X amount of money, you will not. It's a practice Kenyans know, and Kenyans have voiced themselves, and investigations have been done. And so it's important that when we are talking about the overall police reforms, we need to note that corruption is at the center stage. The second thing is the power dynamics within the National Police Service Commission. In as much as we have police and serving highest offices in the National Police Service Commission, and a chair and vice chair who are civilians, remember that in the past, and I'm hoping it will change with this regime, this new commission that is, the new office that has taken over, we used to have a lot of frustrations where even getting a quorum was impossible. Why? Because the power holders are the sitting members of the IG and the DIGs. And if they simply don't show up, a meeting will not take place, because Charles himself has said clearly, we have majority as police in the commission. So we cannot ignore these power dynamics. Neither can we ignore the fact that police service is run on a bureaucratic system, on a command system, a command responsibility system. And so even with a civilian-led oversight, commission, getting that power brokered fairly is a very difficult gameplay. It's really a difficult gameplay. And in as much as the chairs are appointed as people who can maneuver and manage those power dynamics, we do know that the frustrations have been recorded as part of what has ailed this service. And so to answer your question, Owino is not being fair and truthful when he says that things can work with the practical, people going to their villages to get recruited from that process. Remember, and actually we want to raise a fundamental human rights and inclusion issue here. When you say people have to go and run, are we saying that the police service will never recruit persons with disabilities? Just a very practical question. And so we need to find a system that guarantees opportunities for every Kenyan from whichever corner of this country with whatever, as a person, and not exclude people on the basis that they cannot run. There are roles and responsibilities one can get within the National Police Service and serve adequately, even with disabilities. So those are excuses to ensure that even the elimination and cutting down those that don't qualify, you can easily start on a digital process, platform. Why are all other sectors and systems recruiting through online systems, or at least doing some level of vetting through a digital system? So we need to rethink our practices. We need to eliminate corruption from the recruitment as a key impetus for getting people into the police force. And lastly is the whole angle, which we haven't even talked about, the whole angle of promotion, of transfers. They are poorly managed. There's a lot of frustrations. We have constables, people who've been in a specific role for 10, 15, they'll retire in the role they joined in. Why? They're not in favor with the leadership. So there are things that must be addressed within the policing reforms.
So we need to take a break, but I know, Charles, I need to give you a right of
reply.
So we take a break, but we come back and continue with that conversation on policing and human rights as we evaluate 3 years of the Kenya Kwanza administration on the other side of this break.